Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, sitting down to talk about the monstrous 2023 that Bethesda may be lined up to have. Certainly as Bethesda fans, we know what it's like to be in a drought, but this year, it's gonna rain, man. There's gonna be so much to talk about beyond even Starfield, and I hope this video puts all of that into perspective. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's not delay any further. If you're new here, you're into Bethesda news, information, discussions, I feel like we're going to be pretty busy with that kind of stuff this year, so if you like that, consider subscribing. With that, let's begin with the showcase rumors to kind of top it all off. You see, after the no-show of Xbox at the Game Awards, fans were very upset, and it's there that Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter saying that we won't have to wait too long to find out what's next from Xbox, which sort of quelled some of that anger. Following that up was Jez Corden, who wrote on Windows Central that there would be some style of event in the opening months of 2023. Now, since then, Jez has taken to Twitter and wrote that it's going to be more of a direct style event than a full-on showcase, just to keep expectations in check. But the reality is this: we know that within the first half of the year when it comes to Xbox is Forza Motorsport, Redfall, and Starfield. More importantly, for this video, Redfall and Starfield. And if there's an update soon for both of these games, you have to imagine we're finally going to get release dates, a new look at gameplay, and the marketing cycle for both these titles will begin truly in earnest. And that is tremendously exciting to think about, that this year we're getting a new Arcane game and a new Bethesda Game Studios game. As far as I'm concerned, these are the top studios that Bethesda owns. For them to both deliver in the same year, we're going to be eating pretty good, quite frankly. So I'm very excited on what's to come for especially Starfield, as many of you know, because this is a game that, oh man, like just Todd Howard A-team, let's go. When it comes to Starfield, we now have the confirmed developer direct happening January 25th. But perhaps more exciting for those of you who are here to talk about Bethesda beyond Redfall, which we're going to see an extended showcase of, is that Starfield has earned its very own individual showcase. This is an enormous deal in my eyes, because I immediately leap to something like the Fallout 4 E3 2015 showcase, where Todd Howard took the stage for over a half hour and showed us every little thing about Fallout 4, and then we rode happily into launch. Now, whether or not you were happy with the game at the end result, I don't think that you can deny that Fallout 4's hype cycle was one of the best moments in all of gaming. I love that stretch of time, and I feel like we may be in for something quite like that again, however, with more level heads. You know, we've learned after Fallout 4, we've learned especially after Fallout 76 what that Bethesda hype can do, but now we have the idea of that level-headed criticism at the same time as getting a full-on viewing of what Starfield is. This is, again, an enormous deal, because we're going to see every little mechanic. When you think about what we already saw back at E3 2022, where it was about 15 minutes of gameplay on and off, and we were seeing how you could go from planet to planet. They showed some of the settlement system, some of the crafting system, some of the leveling up. What else is there for us to see? I mean, there are so many ideas right off the bat, but all I can say is that we're finally going to see it, and that makes it an exciting start to 2023 ahead of any potential release. But beyond that, Bethesda has much, much more on the way. Fallout is probably going to experience a bit of a resurgence here in 2023. Now, we're going to put our hopes for a remaster to the side here and focus on what actually exists. Let's begin with the Fallout 4 Next Gen update. That is still slated to arrive this year, and it's something that's been long overdue for the game. Coincidentally, we're getting it the same year as Starfield, and if you watch all my content, perhaps even more coincidentally, the year that Skyrim is getting a little marketplace. Very interesting timing there, but I digress. Fallout 4 is going to be optimized for next generation consoles. This is going to be another reason for me to go back and play the game for like the millionth time. But more than anything, it's going to remind people why Fallout is so special. And the reason that's important is because of the Fallout Amazon TV show that I don't think we're going to see a first episode this year, but no doubt in my mind will we see a trailer this year for sure. I think we're finally going to lay eyes on what this show looks like, who the characters are, get some true story details beyond some of the leaks we've seen for the sets of the Fallout Amazon TV show. But yeah, Fallout's going to be more relevant than ever, especially because if this TV show pops off, people are going to check out Fallout games, and yes, Fallout 4 will be sitting there waiting for them with that nice next-gen update. Also, we have to tip our cap to Fallout 76 here. Fallout 76 announced at the end of the year that it has passed 13.5 million players. Not too bad for a colossal failure at the start of the launch of the game. Now, with that said, I need to check a couple people because there were a lot of folks beating their chest in my comments on my Twitter feed. I just need to remind you that Fallout 4 in its opening weekend sold 12.5 million copies. So, look, Fallout 76 managed to crawl out of its hole, but in the terms of a successful Fallout game, I'd say they took a really long time to get there, and I think Bethesda can't be super hyped about that, but it's something that they can at least say, hey, good thing we didn't give up on it. And for that, again, a tip of the cap. But more importantly, and if you watch my Fallout 76 video on the latest Nuka World update, you would have heard me say like, hey, this isn't too bad. And if they continue to update the game like this, we might have something here. This is a quality update that changes how I play the game, and I can kind of dip in and out. It changed how loot was handled. That was awesome to see. So for me personally, if we can get that type of roll going for Fallout with a next-gen update for 4, for good updates in 76, and a trailer, Fallout's going to be more relevant than ever. And again, who knows what happens with Fallout 3 and New Vegas and if they are ever brought back. I have to imagine they're going to want to do remasters at some point. I just don't know if it'll be in 2023. But that's one other exciting aspect of Bethesda's 2023 in general. The resurgence of Fallout, a very dead franchise in my eyes as it stands. Perhaps less exciting, but still worth talking about because it's within the 2023 window for Bethesda, is a new mobile game that Todd Howard talked about on the Lex Friedman podcast, saying how obsessed he is with it. Take a listen to this clip here as he talked with Lex Friedman.
Well, we've done a few things, and we have a new mobile game that we're working on that we haven't announced yet that I'm in love with.
I'm very keen to find out what this is. I think Fallout Shelter was like a lightning in the bottle moment, and they kind of just ran a mile with it now with Elder Scrolls Blades and now another new mobile game. But obviously with Fallout Shelter generating the amount of money it did so quickly, I understand why Bethesda wants to hang out in the mobile games business a little bit longer and collect their cash there. But I'm keen to find out what it is. Speaking of keen, the last mobile game that I saw announced from Bethesda was Commander Keen. And a lot of folks didn't like that. So much so that it was canceled. So I'm interested to see what this mobile game is that Todd Howard says he's obsessed with, that he's in love with, that he thinks is so awesome. And does it connect to any of the new IP or existing IP that are within Bethesda? I've always wondered if they're gonna leap and do something with Starfield in the mobile space. I think that's something that really helped out the hype with Fallout 4, was people were really hungry for something with Fallout, and they gave them this new, surprisingly great base building game that kind of held us over and continuously got updates, and some of them with Fallout 4 stuff. Like I remember they added Piper and Preston Garvey in, and it was a big deal for a lot of folks. So maybe they do that with Starfield, I'm not sure, but the way he's speaking about it, it sounds like something entirely new. But still, there is a new mobile game on the way from Bethesda. There's also games that Xbox fans missed out on last year that they'll be able to catch up to this year. Now, last year we saw, 1 year later, Deathloop arrived on Xbox with its Golden Loop update. I'd imagine as part of this Xbox Direct style event that we're going to see Ghostwire Tokyo there, confirmed for Xbox consoles. If it wasn't clear enough that Ghostwire Tokyo was coming to Xbox just based off what happened with Deathloop, you can take a look at this photo here of the inside of Tango Gameworks office, where you see Ghostwire Tokyo on the wall with Xbox listed as one of the consoles that it's coming to. So that was always a part of the plan, well before we even knew what would happen with Deathloop. With the 1 year contract expiring very soon for Ghostwire Tokyo, yes, you can imagine that this is going to drop on Xbox very soon, and I imagine they're going to do what they did with Deathloop as well and have some type of update for all consoles available that adds something to the game. This was one that unfortunately I missed out on, even though I bought day one. It's one that I'm very keen on getting around to, however, and I do plan on playing it soon because I just love the hand animations. It gives me those Naruto jutsu vibes, so I'm about what they're doing here with Ghostwire Tokyo, and I'm keen to see what people think of it when they get their hands on it, because I don't think this one really set the world on fire. I don't think it did really well in the terms of Metacritic, but it looked very unique. And so I'm excited to check it out finally. But that's another Bethesda game that is going to be making the rounds a second time here in 2023. Beyond that, though, there are new announced titles that we don't know much about that we may see more of. Keep in mind that MachineGames has been very quiet for years. And I think part of this is the mishandling by Bethesda, as they confirmed very quickly that MachineGames was going to work on Wolfenstein 3, that this is something that was definitely going to happen. That was a Pete Hines quote. And then soon thereafter, we learned about Indiana Jones. And Indiana Jones is being executive produced by Todd Howard, and he talked about that as well on the Lex Friedman show, saying how it was a real love letter to Indiana Jones, a definitive love letter, and that it's a mishmash of all different genres, and that's truly exciting to think about. So I can't wait to see what MachineGames is cooking, but the reality is they've been cooking for a while. The last time we heard from them was Youngblood, and that was a co-developed effort between MachineGames as well as Arcane. The reality is, the last time we had a full experience from MachineGames was the second Wolfenstein game in 2017. So they are long overdue to show us whatever they are working on. And I imagine maybe they stopped development on Wolfenstein 3 and then transitioned over to Indiana Jones. Perhaps that's the case. Maybe they're working on both in tandem. In any situation, I think we're overdue to learn what's going on with MachineGames. And I think this may be the year we get that. More importantly, though, and perhaps more likely, is id. You know, we got DLC for Doom Eternal, but it's been since 2020 that we've heard from id Software. And look, they're in a bit of an ugly situation now with Mick Gordon and exchanging open letters and potential legal battles. It's not very pretty, but they're still going to work on games. There's still plenty of employees that are keeping their heads down, getting to work. And there have been a lot of rumors surrounding what id is working on. Some have said it's a new Doom, but many have suggested online that it's a new Quake game. And you'd have to think that after 2 Doom games, they might want to try something a little bit different. I would be fine with more Doom personally, but a new Quake game also sounds really exciting, and it definitely sounds like it's in the wheelhouse of what id works on. So quite frankly, you have 2 great options here, but id, 3 years removed from their last game, I could see a QuakeCon reveal for this one, like a title card or a little teaser on what they've been working on, something along those lines to confirm what's on the way from them. And of course, also solidifying whether or not that would be an Xbox exclusive game, and the same thing would go for MachineGames. This is all relevant because we learned through a statement to the FTC that there is a 3rd exclusive Bethesda game on the way, and they talked about it in the realm of a solo or smaller multiplayer experience, of course being Starfield, Redfall. But what's game number 3, right? What is that 3rd game? Is it id? Is it MachineGames with Indiana Jones? Your guess is as good as mine. But the wrap up really shows here that Bethesda is in for an insane 2023. That's not even accounting for the Skyrim marketplace. We talked about this in a whole video on its own. Please check it out if you did miss it. But we sat down and took a look at the Steam database in that video. And it was there that we learned in the description of a recently added branch that Skyrim is getting some form of a marketplace that could be akin to the Minecraft marketplace. And if that's the case, then monetization is likely coming to a lot of other Bethesda Game Studios titles. So it looks like it could be a year of peaks and valleys between Starfield and something like the Skyrim marketplace, but there's going to be a lot to talk about in the world of Bethesda, and I hope this video put all of that into perspective for you. For me, am I excited or not? Certainly. Of course, you all know my excitement for Starfield. I mean, I'm right there at the top of the mountain screaming like, let's go. But at the same time, there's so many surprises that can be tucked away here, especially in the world of Fallout, because that's starting to grow here. We have the online game, we have the next gen update, we have the TV show. Are we finally going to see books, comics, remasters? Are we finally going to see the much needed expansion of that series? And of course, with Elder Scrolls fans, well, I hope you get something this year. I really do. I'm so sorry. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going on for Bethesda in 2023. It's going to be a very interesting year, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts, so please do fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.